tell me about how you met your husband-to-be.
I'm in Chicago, and each year the National Association of Music Merchants had an exposition and trade show in Chicago. At that time, it was at the Palmer House. They took over about 4 or 5 floors of it. Maybe 10 to 15,000 would attend. And when I was at Line and Healy, the floor that the harp department was on was also the band instrument, guitar, and string instrument floor. And they were all invited at different times to hospitality rooms of the manufacturers of the instruments. And at this time, the band instrument department said, go over to the Slingerland Drum cocktail party at the Palmer House and pick up our invitations to the party tonight. So I did, and I got lost in the Palmer House on the wrong floor. But I finally found the Slingerland Drum display room, and Bud Slingerland issued me invitation along with other invitations for the salespeople at Line and Healy. So I went back. That evening when I went back to my apartment, I didn't feel like practicing, so I said to my friend, let's go. I have an invitation, see what it's like. So she had a car and had just graduated from Vassar. So she was curious also. So we both went.
Might meet some boys.
That's right. And then at that point, I was walking across the room to get a drink. And this man comes up to me and says, didn't we meet each other, the usual come on thing? And I said no, and he asked my name and everything. Very nice looking gentleman. And then I went over and got a drink, and he had later told me that when I went to get a drink, he looked at my hand to see if I had any ring on my left finger. Since I didn't, he bumped into me again and said, well, would you like to join me for dinner and the evening? And I said, well, I'd love to. However, you won't believe this. I said, I would like to go have a chaperone go with us. So my mother had told me how Chicago was a sin city and all that garbage and to be careful. Well, growing up in a reform school for boys, what do you think I would learn? So he did, and they became friends. They had a music store in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we went out, and we went to the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago and danced to the music of Les Brown and his band of renown and ate dinner. And 3 months later, we were married.
Wow. So now how old were you when you met him?
21, almost 22.
So you were still pretty young.
Yeah. But yet in those days, it wasn't young. Most people my age were married by then. I guess that's the farming community out in Nebraska. They needed somebody to work the fields.
So now 3-month courtship sounds kind of fast.
Yes, it was fast, and it was. We were together maybe 2 weeks before we were married of total time, because he lived in Frederick, Maryland, and I was in Chicago. And then I left when he asked me to marry him and presented a ring. And at that time, then I left Line and Healy and went back to Nebraska.
So how long had you known each other before he popped the question?
Maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Huh.
He was smitten with me right away.